You are now watching On Point, a news and public affairs show from California State University Northridge.
Hello and welcome to On Point. I'm your host, Asia Haskin. In today's episode, we're celebrating National Bike Month by exploring how biking is more than just a hobby. It's a lifestyle, a community, and a powerful way to connect, express, and move with purpose. Here with us today are two guests who embody just that, showing how biking can be a path to self-expression and a force that unites people. First up, we have Jorge Vega, a longtime BMX rider and the founder of the brand KNRL. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Alongside Jorge, we have Nestor Lobo, the owner of Retro Express, a bike shop that's been a staple in the community for several years. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So let's start with kind of a little bit more about your background. Jorge, what drew you to BMX?
I've been riding bikes almost since I could walk, and I had a friend in middle school that just showed me some flat ground tricks, and I thought it was really cool, and next thing you know, I was just riding every day, trying new things.
Okay. Was it a presence, like a big presence in your childhood?
I think so. I mean, most of my teenage years I was riding BMX, and I took like a 10-year break and got back into it around COVID when I bought my son his first BMX bike.
Okay, that's cool. Nestor, what inspired you to open up your bike shop?
Well, there was a lot of reasons for me to opening a bike shop. It was mainly an accident. I'm like Jorge. I'm a bike rider. I've been riding bicycles since I'm a little kid, and probably like since started walking basically, and then eventually I grew up with bikes. My friends are bike riders, and I opened a business, and didn't work out for me. And I was looking for some type of source of income that I could, not only make money, but at the same time connect with the community. And doing a research, find out that a bike shop was the best idea. I could connect with the community, help out, and at the same time, I'd make an income.
Were there any difficult moments for you when you were trying to, open the bike shop or grow your business?
Everything just worked out for me, honestly. It was just, at the moment that I was looking into getting parts or bicycle parts, that was the difficult part, because if you go into the community and you're not going to be bringing expensive brands or high-ending brands, because you want to help especially where I'm at in Venice, it's not a high income community. So my goal, one of the difficult parts was to find affordable parts and good parts that people can afford, because if you, like Jorge might know, some places in bicycle might take a lot of money to ride, like bicycle chains, tires, tubes. So
It's really expensive.
It's really expensive. So my goal was to find a way to buy affordable parts and share those discounts with the community. So that was the hardest part. But other than that, everything has just been a bless. Everything has just been going smoothly, and I love it.
And then Jorge, for you, you also have a brand. Is there first tell me a little bit about your brand, KNRL.
It is a media brand, kind of focused around bike riding, skating, graffiti. And, we have some products. I'm wearing one of the shirts, but besides that, it's mainly just videos that we put out, just kind of highlighting the local younger kids that are really, really good. As far as difficulties, I don't think I had too many. I've always, making videos and bike riding always came hand in hand for me. So when I got back into it as an adult, I, started making videos of it again. And it's pretty natural. I just go out with the other guys around here that ride bikes and just film stuff that we put out.
Well, you mentioned you took a 10-year break. What kind of reignited?
I got my son a bike, and I tried to do a 180, and it turned out I could still do it. So I just got the idea to buy a bike. I work in real estate. At the time, it was COVID, so I started working from home full time. So my schedule just kind of opened up, and I bought it and just totally fell in love with it again.
And how old is your son?
My son is 12, about to be 13.
Okay.
next
Is he
Thursday.
also into it? Oh.
No, he skates now.
Okay.
He got into bike riding and just didn't like it. It was a heavy bike. It was difficult, and just kind of got over it.
Nestor, I'll go back to you. You mentioned being able to, so I know we talked before, your shop has been open for 13 years now, and that's given you a chance to kind of connect with the community. But you've also mentioned that you've had people come into your shop that you've seen as children, and they now have their own,
Of
their
course.
children of their own.
Yes, this is one of the best part of my life. I really enjoy to spend time at the shop. It's my second home, or maybe probably sometimes I spend more time at the shop than at my own home, because that's where my friends, my family, and of course a lot of the things that happen in my life, it happens in the shop. I don't know if George experienced going to a shop and he's friends with the owner and hangs out there. And not only that, but you build a relationship with everybody. You have your regular customers. You have I have customers like George. Probably if I would have met him 13 years ago, before he has his son, he was riding bicycles, and he would have come back with his son when he was 10 or 11 at the shop. Would have recognized him, but I don't know what it'll be. It's a satisfaction that, like I said, money can buy when you see your customer with his kid buying a bike, and the expression of the boy or girl be like jumping, hugging their parents, and say thank you, daddy, or thank you, mama, or thank you, grandpa, because a lot of grandpas, they go to the shop and get their grandson's bicycles, and those experiences are very, very fulfillment. And when it comes to not only generating money, but building a more deeper connection with the community, and I really, really love that. That's one of the things that I can say that there's things that money can buy, and that is one of those things.
Oh, we've sort of been talking about kind of the relationships that you build for both of you involved in your respective businesses. But what do you think about the community that you've been able to build or be a part of?
I love it. I love the bike community. With it, I do, every Thanksgiving I do food drives, and I would do this before I had the brand, but through the brand and through the community at the skate parks, we were able to every year double the amount of homeless people that we fed. So last year we did 1,840, I want to say, and the goal was 2,000. If it was not for the brand amplifying our reach, I don't think that we would have been able to do that. So when it counts, the community comes together pretty good.
You've been able to use your brand kind of as a platform.
Yeah, totally. If it wasn't for it, like I said, I don't think I would have been able to feed that many people. When my wife and I started doing it 8 years ago, I was feeding maybe 10 people, 40 people. This year, we're gonna try to do 4,000 people. So we'll see.
A lot.
Yeah.
Big jump.
Yeah. We're doubling it every year.
It's amazing.
That's really good.
That's really cool.
I want to get into, kind of dive into more about bikes specifically. We're a little late for this, but George, if you can just tell me, for someone who didn't know, what is BMX?
Tricks on little kid bikes, pretty much. It's the 20-inch bikes, and there's different areas of BMX. There's dirt bike riding, there's skate park riding, there's street riding. That's pretty much skating, but on a bike, I would say.
Okay, cool. Nestor, what type of bikes do you see in your shop?
Well, our shop is 100% community, family-oriented business, and we started when the fixies, or the single-speed bikes, came out, and I thought that I was the only type of bicycles that I was gonna be working on. But eventually, Pops brought a kid's bike, Mom's brought a cruiser. uncle brought the mountain bike. So at this point, we are working on all type of bikes, and in this new era of the electric bikes, we're also working on e-bikes, and we're doing some electric scooters as well.
I know technology has evolved greatly. Speaking on bikes, like you mentioned, electric bikes, do you find those more difficult to fix because of the electric component?
Definitely. The electric bikes is a totally different different style of riding. It's more like, I would say more like a commuter, someone who uses it to go to work or for fun. It's hand to hand, but it's totally different. But as we evolving on the business, we have to learn how to repair those bikes, because if not, then it's, as a business owner as well, I'm losing the opportunity to make an extra income repairing those electric bikes. But definitely it's more difficult, it's more expensive, and it's a little bit more risky for the business as well. But when it comes to, you know, bicycles, that are worth a lot more money, so you have to be really careful when you're handling that type of bikes.
You're almost like an auto mechanic at that point. There's
Yes.
like a motor and everything.
Yeah, motor, electronics, connections, parts, and it gets a little bit more sensitive.
For sure. George, I want to come back to you a little bit more about BMX. What makes a BMX bike different than a
The
regular?
size, 20-inch wheels, thicker tires. I think the whole geometry of the frame is different. Shorter back ends. You might see like 4 pegs on each side, or like 1 on each side. Besides that, I would say just the geometry of the bike itself.
And then what's kind of like I know you do a lot in the BMX scene, but what's kind of like your day-to-day like?
Well, I don't ride my bike every single day, unfortunately. I'm a father of 3. I'm a real estate agent. I work from home. I take care of my daughter, who's not in school yet. I pick up all my other kids around 3. I try to get to the skate park maybe like once a week to train, and then normally on the weekends, me and all the local guys will go out and like ride some street. We'll go film. But even though, you know, I can't do it every day, like I still make time for it, at least once or twice a week. Gotta have hobbies.
For sure. I have a question for both of you. Do you have a favorite bike?
I have a favorite brand, I guess, or one of the only brands that I buy frames from is Sunday, just because they're really strong. In like BMX at least, there's a lot of impact. You're doing things on flat, on concrete, so strength is a big factor. And they're just pretty strong. So I'd say that's maybe my favorite brand.
Oh, Nestor, for you.
Me, I love all kind of bikes, especially, my thing is that when I get one of those vintage, classic, 1970s, 1980s, early 80s, bikes that I get to bring it back to life. It's like a Cadillac, like a lowrider, and then just not like, well, I love to like lowrider bikes as well, but I like those vintage city bikes. I think those are my favorite because not only I get to bring them back to life when you see stuff that was made 40, 50 years ago, 50 years ago, and it's just, for somebody it could be trash. For me, it's gold. And I get to restore them, rebuild them. It's a therapy for me. It makes me happy. Once I see the finished project, I'm like, wow, that bike is nice. And the best part is when I get to go test ride it. And it runs smooth, and I was like, wow. When at some point this bike was in a yard full of trash or full of leaves or behind, I have picked up some nice GT BMX from the early 90s.
It's old school.
And those are old school. They're trash, and then I get them and I start cleaning, washing, using the special detergents. And once you see that chrome back to life, and the best part is when you sell the bike for good money.
That's awesome. Love the conversation we're having. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, our reporter George Camacho shows us how one campus resource is empowering the community to ride and learn more. Stay tuned.
I'm an actor in an ad reminding you that if you're high, just don't drive.
Welcome back to On Point. Bikes are a common sight here at CSUN, but knowing how to keep them running isn't always second nature. That's where One Campus Resource comes in, offering tools, guidance, and hands-on support to make sure riders feel confident both riding and working on a bike. Here's George Camacho with more.
May is National Bike Month, a time to celebrate the freedom and fun that comes with two wheels. For many of us, learning to ride a bike was a rite of passage growing up, and now places like CSUN are helping people reconnect with that experience while also providing guidance on how to keep their bikes road ready. Tucked in the heart of campus, the Matador Bike Shop is a resource many students still haven't discovered. A place that keeps your wheels turning and teaches you how to take care of them too.
If you give a man a fish, he'll eat for one day, but if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. That's the same thing here with the bikes. We want people to be able to fix their bikes for the rest of their lives. We want them to learn a valuable skill that they didn't think that they would, necessarily be learning that day, but that's what it's all about.
From quick fixes to full builds, the shop offers hands-on guidance in a supportive setting. Their goal is to make biking easier and more accessible on campus.
Just the simple stuff, inner tube replacements, brake adjustments. We've done full brake cable replacements. We've done a lot of stuff with the chains. Learning at least how something that you own works, it's going to give you more appreciation for it. It's going to allow you to take more care of it, and it'll last longer.
The services they provide are affordable and a big help to the bike community here.
I probably would have gone back to the bike shop where I got my bike and had to actually pay a lot more money to get my tire fixed, including replacing that tube.
It's not just about fixing what is broken. It's about learning how to spot problems early and build the skills to handle them on your own.
Keep everything in check. If you have a problem, don't ignore it. Try to figure it out. If you don't know what's wrong with it, you can Google it. And there's a lot of forums, there's a lot of YouTube videos. Just if there's something wrong or you think there's something wrong, Google it. And if you don't know how to fix it, you can Google that too.
More than a service station, the bike shop has become a hub for education and connection.
I thought it was just going to be labor. I thought I was just going to be, fixing bikes. I didn't expect to be able to interact with all the customers and really build the family that I have. So it's been a blessing for sure.
So next time your bike needs attention, stop by the Matador Bike Shop. You might leave with more than just a tune-up.
Nestor, since we've been talking, I'm sure you can relate to something that you heard in that package.
Of course, 100% is my everyday. Like I said, you always, in my case, I try to help customers. Our shop, like I said, is a community-based shop, so they get a lot of help, not only when they come with prices, but also if they don't have the money to pay for a service, we try to help them to get them home, or find a way that if they want to leave their bike in the shop and come back the next day, or if there's something minimal they can do it themselves, we let them borrow the tools. The only thing that we don't let them do it in the shop. They have to go outside, figure it out, and bring the tools back. But yeah, it's like he said, you go to a bike shop expecting to go to work, but at the end of the day, you make friendships and relationships, and that's one of the best parts of the day.
George, for you, I can imagine that BMX, with all of the stunts, there's a lot of maintenance that's required for these bikes. Do you have any stories?
I snap chains a lot, but besides that, I'm really bad with maintenance. I keep my bike in the garage, and that's pretty much it. Apart from that, the peg sleeves we're constantly grinding on, so I replace those a lot. But snapping chains is the biggest issue that I have, I would say. You snap a chain and then your knee goes right into the stem, and it's just horrible. Besides that, I don't really have, too many horror stories. I don't really get stranded in many places. I always carry a tube with
flats.
Tools. And I drive my car to most of the spots that I go to, so it's nice having that with all my tools.
Well, Nestor, what's the most common issue that you see when you're repairing bikes?
Tubes, inner tubes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's our our bread right there. We repair tires and tubes. That's the mainly thing. And then everything else, like brake adjustments, that'll be the second part of the shop, but mainly it's tubes, flats.
Is there any advice that you can give for people to avoid flats?
Well, the best advice that I can give is just go for the best. Don't try to be economic or, let's say, cheap about it. If you could afford like a heavy duty tube, get a heavy duty tube or puncture resistant tube. If you can get the liners that go in between the tires and the tube, get them. If you can afford a better tire, pay for it, because at the end of the day, the tire is gonna last you longer. You're gonna get less flats, and your ride is gonna be smooth. So it's win-win.
Don't ride through the grass.
And don't ride to the grass.
A lot of thorns.
Yeah, stay on the path. Never go off, like you said, never go off the path. If you go to the park, stay in the path and pavement. But if you go off that, you're gonna get flat. You're gonna get a flat, regardless.
I know there's different types of bikes for, you have off-road mountain bikes. Do those have like a different material made out
Probably
of?
thicker tires, so you get like a thorn that goes in, it won't go all the way through and penetrate your tube. Materials, like what the tire is made out of, I'm not sure, but I know for sure they're thicker. Yeah,
there is more. I mean, materials, but bikes comes in different materials. It comes with the most common is steel. The second one is aluminum, and carbon fiber. Carbon fiber is usually mostly on high-ending bikes, like high-ending mountain bikes are very light. And those very expensive bikes you see on the road with the uniforms and teams, they use those very light road bikes. And then they used to titanium is another material they use to make bikes. Less common, but it's there.
George, I know that you mentioned the turkey drive that you put on every year. Are there any other events that you find yourself at or hosting?
Hosting, no. I mean, we want to try and do a toy drive this year. I try to go to local events in the industry, like bike jams that happen every now and then, but we're mainly just doing the Thanksgiving food drives.
Cool. And then Nestor, I know that you're working on a project.
Well, we collaborate a lot with LAPD, very nice. We have done a lot of giveaways with bicycles. We work with this program called Jeopardy for youth. We teach them how to fix their own bikes, mostly kids from the less kids that can afford repairs and stuff like that. We teach them how to work on their bikes, and we also we do the toy drives by Christmas with LAPD, and we go on different rides, like when they do events like or community related stuff, they come to us, and we try to go for like cyclovia or critical mass or any type of things that we can volunteer or help out. I mean, we always available for that. Like, for example, if a George will come and will, now we met and he let me know we're gonna need some help. At least if I cannot help him financially, but he has an extra hand. He knows I would love to be part of it, hand out food or bring boxes or bring my truck, my van, and try to be part of something. And that's what bicycles will do. They will unite us in a different event. And that's what I love bikes, because it's not just a source of transportation, but it's so many things behind that. Friends, community, health, environment. It's way a lot more than what you see. That is the things like what George does.
Mm. Did you guys have something like those events for you when you guys were children?
Not at all, actually. BMX was not that big when I was growing up. It was mainly skating. There were like 3 other kids that rode bikes, at least the way that I did. Everyone had a bike, but no one actually did tricks on them. Mm. So nowadays, there's a much bigger scene, which is really cool. But when I was in middle school, high school, before I took a really long break, there was really no one else around.
How would you describe BMX culture?
Close. and it depends. It depends what aspects of BMX you're into. Like I said, there's like park riding, dirt bike riding, street riding. But no matter what, I feel like you like see someone else on a BMX bike and immediately you have like a connection with them. At least when you're out in the skate park, not so much on the streets. Nowadays, most of the adults that you see on BMX bikes are probably on drugs.
Okay. Is there a specific spot where BMX is happening?
I go to Sheldon Skate Park,
Okay.
Lanark Skate Park. Apart from that, like the world is our park, you know, you go anywhere.
How easy is it for people to get involved in BMX? I'll ask you, George.
I would say pretty easy. Nowadays it's all over the media, where before it was not. It is hard, but so is, you know, skating, scootering, any like extreme sport. I'd say it's pretty easy.
Okay. Are there any times where you guys have faced stereotypes?
Not really, other than, like I said, most times that you see someone riding down the street on like a 20-inch bike with a backpack, you think like this guy's on drugs or like a crackhead. But no, not really, you know, just that.
Nestor, how, like you've spoken a little bit about community, but how have you been able to kind of build that with your shop?
It is like what George says, you know, everybody who rides a bike, first of all, you don't judge a book by the cover. You know, I have customers coming to the shop, you know, looking not a dress or not, you could think, let's say the word homeless, and they're happy and they want to fix their bike and they will pay for it, and you can have a guy with a, you know, nice Mercedes G500 putting the same type of bike from the back of their truck and getting fixed, and they both are the same. You know, there's nothing difference between. That's what it's a joke. Is that I said that it's what's the common theme between a rich man and a poor man? It's a bicycle. Anybody could ride a bike. You could be a super rich man and love riding bikes, and you could be someone who doesn't have a car or poor, let's say they use that word, and ride a bike, you know, and they meet at the park and they become friends, and that would be the only things that they will unite both of them, the bicycle. So it just happens, you know. Everybody, mostly people who ride bikes, they're happy, they're healthy.
That's always a good thing.
Yes.
All right, thank you both for being here, and that's our show. Thank you for giving us an insight to what the biking community is like. It's clear to see that biking is more than just a way to get around. It's a tool for wellness, creativity, culture, and connection. While May is officially National Bike Month, the benefits of biking can be celebrated and enjoyed all year long. So whether you're a seasoned cyclist or just starting out, keep pedaling forward and enjoy the ride. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, I'm your host, Asia Haskin, and we'll see you next time on Point.